Hey, everybody. Welcome to LYFE Accounting, where we help you save on taxes and build your wealth. Look, my name is Sherman here. I am a CPA here, and I am sitting with
Crystal, also a CPA here at LYFE Accounting, and we are so excited to get started with our second live Q&A.
Yes. We went live for the first time last month. That was hosted by Sean, my brother, and Karan. And today you have Sherman and Crystal. So look, we are here for you. Ask your business questions, your tax questions. If you want to talk about the stock market, we can talk about the stock market. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on. There's a child tax credit that just started depositing in people's accounts on July 15th. There's millions of people waiting on unemployment tax refunds. And then there's still millions of people waiting on tax refunds. So look, drop all of your comments, drop all of your questions in the comment section below. Crystal and I, we will be reading them. And any fun facts that you have about yourself, like where are you from? What do you do for work? What kind of job do you have? What kind of business do you own? Drop some comments below. Let's start with some fun facts. We already see the questions coming in, so we are going to get to those. But go ahead and start the dialogue up. And while you are sharing some fun facts, why don't we share a fun fact? Okay.
Yes.
So fun fact, Crystal and I, if you did not know, we're actually married. And we've been married for a few years now. But Crystal, why don't you tell everybody how we met?
Yeah, absolutely. So me and Sherman actually met in school while we were pursuing our graduate degrees in accounting. We actually shared a class together. It was our auditing class. And it was a typical story, boy meets girl. We were looking at each other, and honestly, it was just history from there.
Y'all, I'm telling you, we looked like a bunch of kindergartens kids the way we were looking at each other. I could not focus on class at all. Like literally, I kept looking back and we locked eyes, and now we're doing a live together. We're business partners. We're CPAs. We got these master degrees now, and we're having fun on YouTube. So that's a fun fact about us. But Crystal, why don't we go ahead and start reading some of these comments, and we can go from there.
Yes, let's see here. All right. Okay, so MMUX Whitney is a makeup artist from Virginia. Right. Okay,
awesome.
Yes, love that.
Makeup artist in the building.
Yep. Let's see here. Seems like Mickey Taylor is from Chicago.
Chi-Town in the building. We're in Atlanta. Nice to have you on the channel.
Yes.
And by the way, y'all, be sure to like this video, share it, comment, subscribe. We're doing all of this for you. So be sure to help us out here. So with that said, are we ready to start getting into some questions or?
Yes. Let's get into some questions.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so let's see. First question is from Ricky Gant. Can you do write-off any affiliation program? So I'm guessing you're asking, can you write off any affiliation program?
So Ricky, first and foremost, can you clarify what kind of affiliation program you have going on? And then of course, we can better clarify here, but in general, you can write off a ordinary expense that is also necessary and relevant to the business that you are operating in. So as long as you have a business and that expense has a business purpose and you are incurring that expense, then you should be able to write that expense off. Crystal, am I wrong?
No, you're absolutely right. So as long as it's ordinary and necessary for your business in order to do business and earn money from your business, then you can write it off.
Absolutely. So if I have an affiliate program selling a product and I'm paying out these affiliates to promote my product, then I can write off my expense to those individuals and lower my taxable income. So if that is what you're experiencing or kind of what you're talking about, Ricky, then that would be the answer that I would give you.
Yep. I agree. So the next question I see here is actually from Mickey Taylor. And she's asking, are we protected by privilege with our accountants like our lawyers?
So it depends on in what respect you're referring to. And it depends on the credentials of your accountant. In my view, a CPA or what do they call the tax designation that a lot of people are? Is it like a tax
enrolled agent?
Enrolled agent.
Yeah.
Yep. So you can register as an enrolled agent or a CPA, and that person is liable to file your return correctly. You could also rely on them for advice. Now, of course, this video, we're not giving you legal accounting advice. This is solely for educational purposes. But in a professional setting, then you should be able to rely on that designation. There's a lot of good faith rules in place when you get these certifications that state that you have to act in your client's best interest, for example. And there's certain ethical standards that they have to abide by too. That's if they have those credentials and certifications. But if someone's just saying that they're an accountant and they're not actually licensed anywhere to be an accountant, then I think that is where you would start running into some issues.
Yeah. I completely agree with that. Sherman is right. So next question here is actually from Camilla Q. And it states, any updates on the child tax credit? I received letters from the IRS and the White House stating that we were eligible to receive the child tax credit, but did not receive it.
Oh, wow. So a lot of people have received their child tax payment, but there's also a lot of people who are saying they did not receive it. And some of them are saying that the amount is wrong and so forth. If you did not receive your child tax payment, it could be a number of things that come to my mind. The first thing is, are you eligible? Do you meet the income limits? I think it's $75,000 if you're single, $150,000 if you're married. So do you meet the income limits? That's my first question. The second question on eligibility is, do you have an eligible child? And, there's like a $3,600 tax credit if they're under the age of 6 or 7, I believe. And if they're between the ages of 7 and 16 or 7 and 17, it's about $3,000. So do you have an eligible child that fits that criteria? And then if you do, then the third question I'm asking is, well, is someone else claiming that child? So is someone else claiming that child as a dependent? That's one thing that comes to my mind. The second thing that comes to my mind is, did you claim the child tax credit on your previous tax return? Because remember, the IRS is automatically sending these child tax payments out based off of who already claimed that credit in the past. But if you have not did that, then you need to log into the child tax portal or log into your IRS account to let them know that you do in fact want to claim that child tax credit. So that's kind of what I would say. I would first say, are you eligible? And if you are, then what's going wrong? Does the IRS have your right bank account? Do they have the right address? Is the child eligible? Is someone else claiming the child? Those are the questions that come to my mind. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, totally. Okay, so moving right along here, we have another, I guess it's more of a statement, but it's basically saying, don't fail to address the elephant in the room, the PPP problem and prison factors for the fools that can't correct how to right their wrongs.
Oh my gosh. Do you have any comments on that?
Right. So yeah, as we know, there's a lot of PPP fraud going on. And at this point in the game, that's coming to light. So obviously, if your PPP loan is not forgiven, you have to pay that back. I imagine that if there's some fraudulent activity suspected, that the IRS would let you know, or whoever your vendor would let you know of that. But basically, essentially with a PPP loan, you just want to make sure that you're using those funds for payroll, necessary business expenses. And if you did not do that, then you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble there. So that's what I would say in terms of PPP fraud. Hopefully none of you guys are in that boat, but yeah.
And if you have a PPP loan, comment below, let us know what your experience have been, right? So comment below if you have a PPP loan, have you applied for forgiveness? What is your experience like with that? But yeah, number one, you should have a business, right? I know people who do not even have a business that is applying for these loans. And then you need to make sure that you meet the criteria like Crystal said. Or do you have, the eligible expenses, fixed expenses, rent, overhead, employees? That is why the PPP loan was created. It was created to help those individuals or those companies keep running their operations, keep their lights open, keep their offices intact, and also keep their employees employed. So yeah, hopefully no one is victim to the PPP fraud. Also, guys, look, we're here for you. Crystal and I, we're just literally sitting here going through our comments. So if you have questions on anything, business, tax, finance, comment below, comment. We are here just chilling out, having some fun with you all. So feel free to ask. You can ask us literally anything, and we'll try to answer it.
Absolutely. So yeah, a few comments here. Alora says that she's opening a kids entertainment center.
Oh, wow.
Very cool. Yeah, I think that'll definitely be successful. Anthony Manning, he's from South Carolina. What's up, South Carolina?
SC, we're in Georgia. We're next door neighbors.
Yes. Okay, so let's see here. Any other questions? Okay, so Tamika Thomas asks a good question here. It says, when will you all be opening back up for new clients? We are ready to sign up.
Oh, wow. Well, thank you. We are flattered by that comment. We are working on a series of training programs currently. We stopped accepting clients earlier this year. We were overwhelmed with the amount of clients that we had and ultimately the support from YouTube. We started this channel literally less than 10 months ago. We already have 60,000 people on our channel contacting us and so forth. So what we did, we ended up pausing our services for a little bit, and we're working on these training programs that you can literally walk through to tax plan your own financial situation. Or also we have a program coming out that helps you start a business, like literally walks you through the steps to starting a business, choosing the right entity, knowing how to pay yourself, and so forth. That is coming out this year. And then at that point, we will be accepting some more clients into those programs and possibly other services that we offer as well.
Yes, absolutely. So very good question, Tamika. Okay, so getting back into questions here. Next question says, can I write off Square fees?
Of course, that's a business expense. Credit card fees, merchant account fees. I would say you better write them off.
Yeah.
If that's a legitimate business expense. They actually issue out a 1099 or some type of statement at the end of the month, basically reporting the income that you are collecting from Square. Okay, so literally, if you use a merchant, whether it's Square, Stripe, or some of these other merchant accounts, they're reporting all the income to the IRS saying, hey, XYZ, they made this, therefore they have to report this. So at the same token, those fees that you're paying to Stripe, you need to make sure you write them off. Make sure that you're not missing any deductions like your merchant or your credit card fees. So absolutely, you can write that off.
Yes, please do, actually. Okay, so Anthony says, I want to set up an LLC, but I want to set it up with my kids well adult. So are you asking, how can you pay your kids through your LLC, or should you do that? Clarify a little further there, Anthony.
Yeah, but I mean, in general, you can add your kids to payroll.
Yes.
And I believe children are in lower tax brackets. So a lot of people actually add their kids to payroll as a tax strategy.
Yes.
So you certainly can hire your kids, is the answer to your question. Yeah. You can take advantage of lower tax brackets that they are in. And this is actually a tax strategy. I'm actually giving you a tip here, but some people actually put their kids as owners in their business. And that way they can shift some of their business income to their kids, who in turn pays lower taxes. Mm-hmm. Now, of course, that is not a tax strategy that I want you to rely on without deeper planning. But ultimately, you can hire your kids.
Yes, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I recommend that a lot, actually, with tax planning and the clients that I have, putting their kids on payroll. And the key here is that you don't pay your kids above the standard deduction. So the standard deduction for 2020, I believe, is $12,400. So if you do put your kids on payroll, it's wise to put them or pay them under the standard deduction amount or under $12,400. That way they don't owe taxes, but you're able to take that right off and hey, use some of those funds to, support them, pay for some kid expenses, some child care expenses. So yeah, that's what I would recommend with that. The key is keeping it under the standard deduction.
Wow. So wait a minute. If you're under the standard deduction, you pay zero taxes?
Zero.
Okay. So again, if you do not know, the standard deduction is $12,000. All right. So if you're paying your kid and they're on payroll and they're making less than $12,000, they pay no taxes. So if you have a bunch of kids, I'd hire all of them if you could. There's another question that we missed from Mickey Taylor.
Okay.
Mickey Taylor asked, when is the best time to file as an S-Corp opposed to staying an LLC?
Right.
Do you want to take that or do you want me to?
Yeah, it's actually a very simple yet complex question. But I would say a good rule of thumb is once your business or once your LLC is making $50,000 in income, it might be time to start entertaining an S-Corp. And why I say that is because as an S-Corp, there's a rule where you have to pay yourself as the owner of the S-Corp a reasonable compensation. So obviously, if you're only making, $10,000 or $15,000 from your LLC, it doesn't quite make sense to be an S-Corp just yet. So I would wait to get to at least that $50K mark. And that way you can kind of justify the reasonable compensation and then switch over to an S-Corp.
Right. Exactly. No, that's what a lot of CPAs we talk to are saying, $50,000 in income. But let's make sure you understand, why would you consider becoming an S-Corp, right? It's why would someone consider becoming and switching from an LLC to an S-Corp?
Yeah, totally. So the reason why, in case you didn't know, as an LLC, you pay what's called self-employment tax. Okay, a lot of my clients don't know about self-employment tax and they're always surprised by it at tax time. But basically, self-employment tax is a tax where you're paying about 15% on all of your income as an LLC. Okay, so that's a high number. So when you would want to switch over to an S-Corp, or the reason why you would want to switch over to an S-Corp is to avoid that self-employment tax. Now, as an S-Corp, you do pay self-employment tax on your reasonable compensation. So the wages that you pay yourself as an employee of your business. So that's only a portion of your income, of your profit. It's not your entire profit. So to switch over to an S-Corp, you're saving on the self-employment tax. So as an S-Corp, you're only paying self-employment tax on your wages, not on your entire income from the business.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, and let's break it down even further. This is not, self-employment taxes does not just apply to LLCs, okay? If you are doing any type of business, sole proprietor, partnership, LLC, single member LLC, multi-member LLC, anything that is considered a pass-through entity pays self-employment tax. In fact, the only type of company that does not pay self-employment tax are corporations, right? Now, corporations are very complicated entities that have their own set of rules. But there's this small business corporation, the S corporation, that gives you the benefit of taking advantage of pass-through taxation, so you're not paying the double taxation that C corporations or normal corporations pay, and then still limit your self-employment taxes so long as, like Crystal mentioned, you pay yourself a reasonable salary. And that salary should be taking payroll. So Social Security taxes and Medicare taxes are technically the taxes that you are paying as an S-Corp when you pay yourself a salary. But the idea is that if you make $100,000 and you pay yourself $50,000, you're only paying Social Security and Medicare on the $50,000 opposed to $100,000, which the IRS would call self-employment taxes. So hopefully that helps.
Yes.
Are there any other questions that y'all have? What else is on your mind? Make sure you comment below. If you've never seen us before, make sure you click the subscribe button, And also like this video, help this video move more in the algorithm. But what else do we have on the list, if anything, Crystal?
Yes, I'm looking right now at your questions. Okay. You see one?
Oh, well, L. Williams is mentioning, do we offer free consultations? Not technically, but this is the free consultation right here. Okay, so look, you have a question, anything you want to access, just comment below, question, comment. But no, we don't, outside of these lives and our normal YouTube videos, we have a ton of content on our YouTube channel. But outside of that, we don't offer free consultations.
Yes, exactly. Okay, I saw a question here from Mika Smith. Hi, if I'm a sole proprietor in my LLC, how do I pay myself? Can I issue myself a 1099?
Oh, wow.
You actually made a video on this not too long ago, right?
Okay, so yes, I can talk about it. I have multiple videos on how to pay yourself, by the way. I have a video on how to pay yourself as an LLC, sole proprietor, S corporation. It's all on our channel, so be sure to check that out. Now, in general, you don't write a 1099 to pay yourself. You just don't. Yeah. Your clients, your customers might make a 1099 to write off the expense they are paying you. So you might be a 1099 contractor in the eyes of your customers and your clients. And the money that they pay you, they are writing off. But that is not technically how you pay yourself. You can pay yourself quite literally anything that you want to pay yourself outside of your business. In fact, you are not actually being taxed on the money that you pay yourself. If you are a disregarded entity or pass-through entity, meaning you're sole proprietor, LLC, partnership, the IRS is not taxing you based off of what you take out of your business. They're taxing you on the money your business earns. They don't care if you leave all of your money in your business. They're going to tax you on the money that your business earned, which is why it's so important that you also tackle the deductions. But to answer your question, this is what we generally recommend, because I'm going all over the place here. If I was paying myself out of my business today, I would make sure that I have at least 3 months of operating expenses saved up, because if something goes wrong, if customers stop coming in and I have bills that I have to pay, I want to make sure that I can cover my bases. So at a minimum, I'm saving 3 months of operating expenses. The second thing that I'm going to do is plan for my business growth or lack thereof. So we're talking about reinvesting money into your business. Fun fact, Amazon was actually not profitable at all for its first 15 years in business, because they consciously reinvested money back into their business. And that's the way I would look at my funds outside of my operating expenses. It's like, okay, do I want to invest into marketing? Do I want to invest into new processes, new technology, maybe proprietary things and so forth? And then lastly, make sure you pay your quarterly estimated taxes. You cannot forget about taxes. A lot of our clients, even Crystal files, they didn't pay any of their estimated taxes, and then they're stuck with this huge tax bill for the whole year, plus penalties for not paying.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
you definitely want to make sure you do that, and then pay yourself everything that's left. That's what I would do. All right?
Yeah, good answer. Okay, moving right along here. So next question I see is from Mark Williams. And he says he is an independent consultant from Virginia. On a previous video, it was mentioned you can place your company logo on your vehicle and use your vehicle for advertising. Would that work for me?
Wow. Yes. So now we're getting into some aggressive tax strategies. And by the way, thank you so much for all of your comments, all of your questions, all of your thoughts. But technically, the idea is this, right? In order for an expense to be written off, it has to be ordinary and necessary for your business, right? So if you are legitimately using your vehicle to advertise your business, then that would be an advertising expense. in my view. Now, it depends on what kind of business you're in. Like if you're a remote company working in your office all day and you never drive that vehicle, it might be a little questionable to take that as a write-off. I don't know. But it depends on the nature of your business as well and if you are actually advertising it. But to be really frank with you, there are a lot of people who write off their vehicle expenses as long as it meets a certain criteria anyway,
Right.
From their taxes, from their business taxes. So yes, you can, but I would be very careful and make sure that you sit with someone who can walk you through how to do that correctly.
Yes, I completely agree with Sherman's answer on that. As long as it's ordinary and necessary. So if you're driving your vehicle and you're intending on advertising on your vehicle, then I would say yes. If you put some kind of advertisement on your car and you're driving around and people are able to look at that, and that's one of the ways that you advertise your business, yeah, totally. Write off those vehicle expenses. Yeah.
All right. I have a question here from Philippi. I'm sorry if I said that wrong. I know I did. I'm sorry. He's asking, he's saying that I have a rental investment property. The loan is in his name. Okay. Now, should he pay his mortgage with his LLC? And are there any conflicts of having that loan in his name, but the property is owned by a trust and the loan is paid by the LLC? So the property is in his name. Oh, the loan is in his name. I'm sorry.
Okay.
The loan is in his personal name. The property is owned by a trust, and the loan is being paid off by an LLC that he owns.
Okay. So the loan is being paid off by
His LLC.
By his LLC, and it's in his personal name.
Right.
I would want the property to be in his LLC name. That's what I would do. I would see about changing the ownership from yourself and moving that over to your LLC. Just because on paper it just looks like it's yours, it's personal. I think it's just wise just to put it in the LLC's name. You're already spending the mortgage from the LLC, so it just makes more sense to just have the LLC itself own that property. Yeah.
Now, how complicated that is, I'm not sure. Maybe does he have to refinance or something like that?
No, I don't think he needs to refinance. I would say it depends on the bank and what their qualifications are to transfer ownership over to the LLC's name.
Okay, and by the way, Sean, he actually just put out a video on how to buy rental properties with an LLC.
Yes.
So you might be able to find more detailed information in that video. So be sure to check that out. But hopefully what we've discussed so far helps you.
Absolutely. Okay.
All right, I have another question here.
Okay.
Now, Mark is asking a follow-up question. He's asking, like, if I purchase shirts with logos, can I use those shirts as advertising as well if he is wearing them to work? I would say yes.
Yeah.
We even have company t-shirts with our logos printed on them.
Yep.
And we write those bad boys off. You better believe we do.
Yep.
I try to write off everything that I can, but I'll spare you on those details. But yeah, Mark, if you have your logo, your company logo on a shirt, I think that's an advertising expense. Every person that sees it, that's an impression in my eyes. So if I walked down the street and saw your shirt, that's an impression, and that is a legitimate advertising expense in my view. So by the way, guys, look, thank you so much for engaging with us. I'm having a whole lot of fun. What about you, Crystal?
Yes, this is so much fun. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was a little nervous to go live, but no, you guys are making it so much better with your questions. So yeah, thank you guys.
Now, I'll be honest, I wasn't nervous at all, but I'm just kidding. Well, maybe I'm being for real, but anyway here. So that was Mark. Look, Mark, thank you for your question.
Yes.
Fields Warren says, I wish my girl was as smart. Well, thank you. Crystal is very smart.
Thank you.
When we were taking our CPA exam, she scored way higher than me. She had to tutor me on how I should pass my exam. So I would agree. She is pretty smart.
Well, thank you, Sherman. I appreciate that.
All right. Busy Diva says, hey, I'm from Houston, Texas. Houston in the building.
Okay.
H-Town.
I've always wanted to visit Houston.
Yes.
So that's very cool. I
Yes.
feel like Houston and Atlanta are similar from what I hear. But yeah, shout out to Houston.
You will have to let us know on that, Busy Diva, but she's stating that she's going to have to watch the replay because she's a little late, and tell us what you think once you watch it. Make sure that you all comment. Okay? Winter Well is asking, how do we start our own accounting firm? I don't know. Crystal, how did we start LYFE Accounting?
Wow. Okay, so how do you start your own accounting firm? Well, how we started LYFE Accounting, I would say first I started off in Big Four accounting. So I worked for one of the Big Four accounting firms, and maybe you know, maybe you don't know, but the workload is crazy. Okay, so they have you working like 60, 70-hour weeks. I mean, it's great experience, but definitely not something I saw myself in long term. So obviously meeting Sherman, who's also a fellow CPA here, we discussed this, and we really just wanted to come together and start this accounting firm with using the knowledge that we both have to help small businesses and individuals save on their taxes, boost their profits. That's really our mission here. So I would say just definitely having that mission, that purpose first. Why do you want to start an accounting firm? What makes you say that? And starting with that, and then just starting and snowballing from there.
Absolutely. And Sean, he actually did a video on how to start a business with no money.
Yes.
And guess what? You can get started with an accounting business with no money.
Yep.
Literally, all you need is the knowledge and maybe some tax software. I don't want to understate it. It is accounting, right? But you can get started. You just have to take that leap of faith and make sure that you know what you're doing, get incorporated, start your website. And normally the biggest challenge, in my opinion, is getting clients. That's going to be the first issue that you run into. But yeah, that's kind of how we got started. On my view, I saw my wife. She came home from work one night and she was just so frustrated. And I was like, let's just go ahead and start the accounting business up. And on my end, Sean, Karan, and myself, we've been operating a separate company called LYFE Marketing. And we've made the Inc. 5000 list like 3 times, Financial Times list as well. It's like one of the fastest growing companies. So we understand marketing. I'm a CPA, she's a CPA. So we all came together on this company just to tell you a little bit more about how we got started. And now we've been doing this for like 4 years?
Yeah, 4 years now.
Yeah. So thank you for that question. Okay, Lexus is stating, I plan to transition out of the military in 2024 and want to be an accountant once I'm out. Do you have any advice or tips? I'm assuming on being an accountant. I'm also in school for my bachelor's in accounting.
We appreciate your service.
Well, first and foremost, look, we appreciate your service. Thank you so much for serving our great country. If you're getting your bachelor degree in accounting, that's really where you start. Almost everyone I know who calls himself an accountant has a bachelor's degree. So be sure, you're doing the right thing by getting the right education. There are specific training programs out there that teaches you how to offer these services, like tax, bookkeeping, CFO services, and so forth. So you may want to invest into a particular program. And if you decide to go even further and start, pursue a master's degree or CPA license, those credentials will only help you, although it's not completely necessary, though it will help you set yourself apart. So that's kind of what my 2 cents would be on any advice or tips. Just try to learn as much as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the good thing or the great thing about accounting and starting your own accounting firm or becoming an accountant, the hard part is really just the training for it, the education for it. Accounting is a very technical subject. A lot of people shy away from it. So if you are studying to become an accountant, if you're already getting your bachelor's degree, I would say that's 75-80% of the hard work.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have to figure out how fun accounting is for you. No, I'm just kidding with you. All right, so we're switching into business questions again, guys.
Yes.
Look, if you're just now joining, drop your questions. Business, tax, unemployment tax, child tax credit, stock market's going crazy, going up and down, whatever it is. We're answering all the questions we get. We'll probably keep going here for about 10 or 15 more minutes, so be sure to drop as much as you can. But okay, now we have a business question from Joe. Joe's asking, which is best to start an S-Corp? He's saying that he's currently living, I think he's asking like which entity is best to start a business as. That's what I'm guessing here, Joe. Let me know if I'm wrong. He says he's currently living in the worst state to start a business, and he's stating that is California.
I was going to guess that. Is it California? Yeah, California is expensive to maintain an LLC or just a business in general. Yeah. So his question is... Which is
best? It says which is best to start an S-Corp. Joe, I'm not sure exactly what this means, but I would assume he's asking which entity should he start with.
Yeah, I would think just generally speaking, not knowing any details about your business, start as an LLC.
Right. An LLC provides you with some type of protection. So the difference is like you could get started today. You don't even have to incorporate. But if someone sues you or you mess up on a client project or your products, hurt someone, then they could sue you and not take what the business earned, but they take all of your personal assets, or at least they could take some of it if it came down to it. So that's why a lot of people incorporate into an LLC. It's the most popular entity type. But again, you don't have to. And if your business is very low risk, then you could just get started without that. And then if you start earning revenue, you could transition into that LLC. So there's a lot of different ways you could play it, but the LLC would be the most popular type for sure.
Absolutely. And just a side note, with an LLC and with a sole proprietor, so like Sherman said, you can get started right now in your business and you would be considered a sole proprietor. Now, the difference between a sole proprietor and an LLC, there aren't any tax differences. So the difference is going to be that limited liability. So if somebody were to sue you, they can't go after your personal assets if you're an LLC. So that's the key difference there with becoming an LLC. There aren't any tax differences.
Right. It's taxed completely the same.
Yeah.
Good clarification there. All right. So Susan is asking, we're switching into the child tax credit. Now, this one is interesting. She's stating that her ex claimed her children and got one child tax credit, but her kids stay with her full time and the father does not pay any child support. What can I do?
Wow. So the dad is claiming the children?
Yes, for the child tax credit, but the kids live with her.
My follow-up question would be, why is he claiming the children on his tax return? So when you have children with someone and you're not together, only one person can claim the children on their tax return, either the mother or the father, or I've seen cases where you kind of switch back and forth every other year. So if the children are staying with you, it sounds like you should be able to claim the children. If he's claiming the children, that tells me that he's been claiming the children on his tax return for at least the last couple recent years. And so that obviously is a problem for you. In terms of what you can do, I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
You might have to get a lawyer involved.
Yeah.
Or what comes to my mind is, did you claim the child on your last tax return? That's
right.
really what comes to my mind.
Exactly.
Or if no one claimed the child, which I doubt, but maybe he just rushed to the IRS and said, hey, that's my child. I want to get this advanced tax credit. But if you turn around and claim the child next year, which would be for this year, right, then he may not even be able to claim that tax credit and end up owing all that money back. Again, the child tax credit, everyone, is an advance. All right. And what we mean by advance, it literally is, the child tax credit it's not new. It's been around. They increased it from $2,000 to $3,600, but it's a refundable tax credit that goes against your income when you file your taxes. So when you file your taxes next year, I would try to claim my child, if possible, and kind of go from there.
Right. You and him need to get on the same page as to who's claiming the child, and because that's what the IRS is going based off of.
And technically, whoever supports the child more than 50% would be legally the person who should be claiming the tax credit.
Good point.
So that is where the issue becomes when you say that you are supporting the child completely and he's not doing anything for the child, then that's an issue. Technically, he's not even supposed to do that. You get in
Entitled, yeah.
trouble. You could get in trouble for doing that, literally.
Right.
Yeah.
He's not even entitled to that credit. You are. So I would definitely look into that further and make sure that you all are on the same page as it relates to that.
Cool. So, Mux Whitney is asking, how do you pay quarterly taxes and where would you go to pay your quarterly taxes? That's a pretty simple one. Do you want to take it?
Yeah, sure. So to pay your quarterly taxes, you want to go on irs.gov. There's a section at the top. There's a bunch of different menu options. One of them says pay. And if you click on that, it'll start prompting you on what do you want to pay. Income tax, quarterly estimated tax. I think payroll tax is also on there. But there's an option for quarterly estimated tax. So if you want to pay your quarterly estimated taxes, go on irs.gov, go to the pay section, and when it prompts you, it's going to ask you what type of tax you want to pay, and make sure to choose quarterly estimated tax.
Awesome. And what amount should you pay for your quarterly tax, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you can actually pay 90% of what you think your business will owe this year. So you take your business income and you find the tax bracket, and then you try to calculate what tax you would owe. You could pay 90% of that amount. That's what you would pay quarterly. So you divide that amount by 4, and that's what you would pay. Or, this is what I prefer to do, you could pay 100% of the tax you paid last year. So now you don't have to do any thinking. You're literally just paying the same amount of tax that you paid last year on a quarterly basis, which is very simple to me. I'm just dividing that amount by 4 and submitting that payment to the IRS every single quarter. So that is how you pay your quarterly taxes.
Yes.
All right. Now, Jacob's asking, I'll let you take this one, Crystal.
Okay.
He's asking, do you pay your taxes from your business account or your personal bank account?
Wow. Okay. So that depends. What was the person's name again?
Jacob.
It depends, Jacob. So if you are for example, like a C corporation, that would have to come from your business account, or I would recommend it coming from your business account. Now, if you are a single member LLC, which most people tend to be, especially when just starting out, and just in general, most people are just single member LLCs, it's completely fine to pay it from your personal account, just because when you file your tax return, there's not a separate business return for your LLC as a single member LLC. Everything gets kind of conjumbled together on your personal tax return on your Schedule C. Right. So in short, so if you're a single member LLC, you can pay it from your personal account. It ends up being personal taxes anyway. You're not considered your business is not considered separate from yourself. So I would say that it's completely fine to pay it from your personal account. But if you're like a C corporation or something like that, then I would say pay it from your business account. But most people, you can pay it from your personal account.
Perfect. Mux Whitney, this is from Mux Whitney, everybody. She's saying, hey, help them out, like their videos, subscribe. We're giving out valuable information. Let them know, Mux Whitney. Thank you so much. Thank you all for watching. We're still answering a few more questions here, but thank you for that comment, Mux, and definitely we thank you all for watching as well. So we have a little bit more of a technical business question coming from Raynell. Raynell's asking, or he's saying, we have a multi-member LLC. So he has multiple partners inside of an LLC. It's kind of like a partnership that incorporated or organized into an LLC. And they're non-resident aliens, meaning they don't live in the country, right?
Okay.
Right. So he has multi-member LLC, non-resident aliens, and he's talking about the reinvestment. Do we have to pay taxes on all profits, even though it is going back into the business? The answer is yes. Now, if you're a corporation, a C corporation, the answer is no. But C corporations pay a 21% tax, I think, right now. And then they are taxed again when they take it out. So the IRS has different schemes, and you have to really sit down and plan which one is going to be the most advantageous for you. But if you reinvest those profits and you have expenses, then you can write off those expenses. Let me clarify, okay? But generally speaking, if you made $1 million and that was what you reported as income, and you say, well, I didn't pay myself $1 million, I'm going to reinvest that, but you don't buy anything, then you're going to have to pay taxes on all of that. Okay. So again, by reinvest, you want to make sure that you are investing it in the tax period that you are paying taxes for, and then you should be good in terms of writing off those additional expenses.
Exactly.
Okay, we'll answer a couple more questions here. Rod Wallace is asking about a transfer tax, title changes, and due on sale clauses. Rod, I'll be honest, I'm not sure what the scenario is or the question that you're asking here. If you can clarify that, I'll try to circle back to it. Robe says, thank you so much for all the great information. Robe, thank you for watching. We do this for you, okay? We don't get paid for this at all. We do this for you, so thank you so much for commenting. Winter Well is asking, how did we get started with our YouTube channel?
Wow.
I could tell you what I think.
Yeah, go ahead.
So last year when the pandemic broke out, all these businesses were going under, and then the SBA started this PPP loan program. It was fun and games, but nobody knew how to get the PPP loan. So I recorded a YouTube video, and boy, that YouTube video is pretty bad now that you see the videos we have now. But after we recorded that video, we were like, okay, well, we wanted to get this information out to more people. And we did. And that's why we created this channel, to empower you to take control of your financial situation and giving you the knowledge that you need, whether that's incorporating a business or saving money on taxes. So that's what we're all about. That's kind of how we got started. We have a video on our LYFE marketing channel on like how to do video marketing, like what equipment we use, what camera we use, what lights we buy, and all that jazz. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out as well. But that's kind of how we got started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
All right. So
I have a question.
Yeah, bring it
here. Okay, this is from Canelo. Canelo, the man, the myth. Okay, Camelo. It says, can I claim eBay fees on my quarterly taxes? Can I claim eBay fees? So I'm assuming here, Canelo, that you're talking about the fees that eBay takes from the sales that you make on eBay.
Yeah.
Right? Yes. You can claim those expenses. You can write those off. Those are considered ordinary and necessary to run your business. So absolutely, you can write that off. And you should write them off when calculating your quarterly tax payment.
Yeah. In general, y'all, business expenses that you incur to run your business should be able, unless there's something that prevents it, if it's ordinary and necessary, you should be able to write that off. So yes, certainly write off those eBay fees. Trust me. Do you want to call out the next one, or do you want me to?
Let me see here. Okay. So Mika, I guess she's asking a follow-up question or a clarifying question. It says, sorry, just to be sure I understand, so I don't pay self-employment tax on the money I pay myself from my LLC.
No. Well, here's the thing. You're going to pay taxes on your business income, right? So when your business gets paid, that's income. Now you can lower this taxable income by taking deductions. The money you pay out would be a deduction in general. Okay. So you're paying taxes on the amount that's left, your adjusted gross income technically, but just think about it as your business profits for simplicity here. You will pay taxes on that full amount based on the percentage of the company you own. Now, with self-employment taxes, this is an additional tax that is paying for Medicare and Social Security. Has nothing to do with your federal income tax to the IRS and those tax brackets. Your state income tax has nothing to do with that. This is literally to fund Medicare and Social Security programs. So yes, you're paying taxes on that up to about $120,000 in income.
Mm-hmm.
And then they kind of
137.
Okay, 137. They updated it, and then it stops. They're talking about increasing that even more, but you can limit that. And we started talking about this earlier. You can limit your self-employment tax exposure by becoming an S-corporation, so long as you pay yourself a reasonable salary. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that helps. But yes, if you are a sole proprietor, LLC, or partnership, you will pay self-employment taxes, unless you are a passive partner in the business.
Yes, and that's a whole nother story.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
All right.
Let's see. You have a question?
Ayo is just saying he's a CPA. He loves what we're doing. Another CPA on our channel. Love it.
Yes.
He's asking about the history of the firm and business. I think we covered that a little bit earlier about how we got started. So you might have to scroll to the front of this live and how we got started. We talked about that as well. And we are located in the A.
Yes.
I know I look corny doing that. I'm sorry. But if you don't think so, let me know in the comments below. All right. You have another question, Crystal?
Let me see here. So Jeremy asks, how often does this live happen?
So we just started doing them last month. Shauna Karan did the first one. We're thinking about monthly to get started. And then if we start having so much fun like this, we might start doing it a little bit more. But you can hold us to monthly right now.
Yes.
All right. So let's do 2 more questions and then we'll call it quits. How about that?
Okay.
All right. So 2 more questions and we're out of here, you all. So Larissa's asking, is it beneficial to make a business plan to secure funding for a loan or business credit for a new small business?
Wow. I actually just made a video on this not too long ago. And I would say, yes, have a business plan. So, anyone who's trying to get a business loan, you're probably trying to get that from a bank, right? So banks, they're just trying to validate your business as much as possible. So having things in order, like having like an LLC or a C corporation in place, a separate business bank account, all of that is great. And included in that is having a business plan. So absolutely, you should have a business plan if you're trying to get approved for a business loan. And within that business plan, it's very, very wise and recommended to have, forecasts of what you expect to earn in revenue, what you expect to spend in expenses for your business. And I would even say have a short-term forecast and also a long term. So the short term would be, what do you expect to earn and spend in the first year of business? And then the long term, I would say thinking 3 to 5 years in the future, what you expect to earn and spend through your business as well. This is what the banks want to see. This is what they want to know. So that's just like the financial piece that you should include in your business plan. But absolutely have a business plan. Just think about it. If somebody were to come to you and say, hey, can you invest in my business? What would you want to see? I'm pretty sure you would want to see a business plan, what they expect to earn, how much you would expect to get back as an investment. So yeah, totally have a business plan in place.
And even if you're not applying for a loan, if you have a business, you probably want to have a plan.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
All right, last question here. Chris, you've got it, okay? If I have an LLC for my sports card business and I travel to card shows to buy and sell inventory, is that a write-off? And does that include flights, hotel, Uber, and food? I remember this question on the CPA exam, actually. So look, if in order for your travel to be written off, it has to be for business. And this sounds like it is for business, okay? Now, people get in trouble when they try to write off every single flight they take. And they cannot justify it with a conference. They didn't attend a business conference. They didn't meet. They didn't do it. They didn't have a congregation or meeting or anything. It was just like literally no way to justify that this was a business expense. But technically, every single day that you are there for business, you can write off your lodging, your hotel expenses and things like that. So if you're there 5 out of 5 days for business, you can write off those 5 days. But if you're there for the weekend too, like 7 days, then technically you're not supposed to write off the weekend if that's not for business and you're kind of doing it for leisure. But you're mentioning things like card shows, the buy and sell inventory. Yes, that's a write-off. This sounds like straight business. Uber,
yes.
Food, yes, meals and entertainment, all of that. Write that off your income.
Yes.
Okay. So look, y'all. I think that's it. I think that's all that we have time for. We greatly appreciate every single subscriber, every single viewer. If you made it to this point, please like, subscribe, share this video. And if it helped you, we hope to see you again in the future on our channel. So that's it that's it for now, everybody. Crystal, you have any departing words?
I mean, all I can say is thank you. We appreciate you guys for tuning in, asking your questions, and we will definitely be doing this in the future. Stay tuned for that, and that's all I have for now.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Peace. All right.